Hi, everybody.
Hi,
Um,
hi.
yes. Okay. So welcome to your glow up call. Just for everybody out there in YouTube world, we own Next Chapter Social and we have a group called Social Club. It is a female coaching group or a coaching group for female small business owners. Ashley Erickson is one of our social club members, and Instagram glow up calls are something we started to do to help our members give their Instagram an oil change, and so that it's aligned with their audience and the goals that they want to get out of their marketing endeavors. So this is the form that we use, and I'm just going to kind of go through what you will get out of this call so everybody else knows what to expect. Your social media goals, we're going to identify 3 of those. We're going to audit your profile, your value proposition, your profile photo, your links that you have, what CTA, call to action you have, your highlight categories. We're going to look at all of that from the top to the bottom. Then we're going to spend the most of the second half or all of the second half of our call going over your content. Is it consistent? Are you using the EIEIO method and what that is? How's it going in your stories? How many link clicks are you getting? And what's your hashtag game? We're going to identify 3 things that are working, 3 things that aren't, and we're going to give you some recommendations or homework assignments at the end. And we are going to send you a screenshot of this paper so that you have it, and you will be able to see this obviously recorded and edited on our YouTube. So without further ado, we would love for you to just take the floor, Ashley, and tell us about who you are, what you do, who you do it for, and how people can work with you.
Okay, thanks. My name is Ashley Erickson Blakely. I own Twisted Pickle. We are business consultants that work on brand awareness, operations, marketing, and media and public relations in the pickleball space. And our client are indoor pickleball facilities, the owners and operators, whether it's a franchise or a singular concept. So our passion is helping people 90 days go to market before launch and then helping them 90 days after. So one of our slogans is, we help you start strong on day 1 and keep you strong on day 1,000. So we also turn some of our consulting hours into coaching so that we can help people become the best business owners in the pickleball industry, because a lot of new people are coming in wanting to be a part of the craze and the fad that is pickleball, but they've never run a business before. So that's what we're there for.
Okay, that's
That's
awesome.
kind of it in a nutshell.
Yeah. Okay. So how can people work with you? What's your call to action?
How they work with us is, you mean like physically getting on a discovery call type of thing?
Yeah. So what's the next step? So if I was wanting to get in the pickleball industry and start a business, whether that's courts or whatever that looks like, what is the next step to connect with you?
Well, hopefully they find us by doing a web search and they realize that they need consultants. I think is the first understanding that they have, that they're like, I can't do this alone. I need an automatic leadership team and a support staff. That's what a lot of business owners don't have when they get started. They have this wonderful concept, but they don't know how to put it into planning, education, and execution. So we're there to add water, be an instant leadership team, and we start back with helping them with their SBA loans to have us a part of that so that the bank will, bless them in having a team and that they will give them the money. And then we start on, LOIs and their real estate property, going through and seeing all of that, giving you an assessment, and then that walks into, but how they can actually physically get a hold of us is through a discovery call. So we do a 30-minute discovery call where we have a planner and an inquiry form and an itinerary that we go through, more just to kind of help people ask the questions. Have you thought about this before you even jump into this adventure? And if you're already past and you've jumped in, what are your next steps, 1 through 3? So a lot of it that I like to tell our owners is that we take out the anxiety of business ownership, and because you're coming in with the leadership team that gives you education and coaching.
Okay, that's great. And all this is super important for us as we go through this Instagram glow up or audit, if you will, to kind of identify what might be the holes in your marketing and where we can help you fill those gaps in your content later on in the call. Okay,
Okay.
well, welcome. I'm so excited. And one last thing, twistedpickle.com, correct?
Twistedpickle.world.
.world. Okay. So
Whole world,
the whole world.
the
Got
whole
it.
world, Brooklyn.
Okay. And we will link that in the show notes as well if you'd like to get a hold of Ashley. She's amazing. All right. So, Angelin, take it away.
Oh, you're gonna start with me?
Yes.
Oh
Start
gosh.
with you,
Okay.
girl.
I know I have notes, but I guess really what we want to talk about is your form, what you filled out and kind of said was your concerns, your notes. It's so it's so interesting. This one's a little bit challenging for me because I'm not so on the outside. Like I know you well, and we've talked so
Yeah.
much about your business, so it's harder for me to audit from the outside. But I was happy to read your form and kind of get you the chance to articulate really what you're struggling with. So
Yeah.
we'll tackle that for sure. So what you've said is that you're trying to find a way to message what we do that's in our language and personality. You definitely are snarky, fun, sassy, relatable, modern, but not adding to that pickleball playing fatigue. And I see what you mean by that after I did some
Yeah.
research. Trying to make that work for a service versus a SKU or products, and service isn't a tangible something to hold in your hand. That's always a challenge. I get that. I like the idea that we use our Instagram as a living business card so that during our discovery calls, we take potential clients to it and show them some of the informational posts that adhere to that or apply to them. And then that helps you articulate what you do, how we do it. Okay, that's awesome. Who would you say, reiterate this for me again, because I'm trying to really formulate this. Who is your ideal client? Like, who do you want to work with? Who do you
Our
hope
ideal
makes that
client
discovery?
as it sits today.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Yeah. Our ideal client, we have a new client that is a franchise. So what we do really well is there's a franchise and they're not local, but the franchisee has come in and bought the territory. So
Mm-hmm.
they're the ones coming in, right, to open up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 facilities in an area. So for us right now in Texas, one of our franchisers or one of the franchise headquarters is in Maryland. And so they don't have a local support, marketing, media, business development operations team. And so that's our ideal client is coming in and helping these franchisees that need their local team as well, their local leadership team. So
Why do franchisees need a local leadership team? Don't they get that kind of support from their company that they're franchising from?
they do on a very static level. But so
Mm-hmm.
because we're here with them local and we can, our new client is in San Antonio. So I can get down to them and get footage because we do the videography, photography,
Okay.
marketing, all the things, and get footage of the town. And so we're going to do a whole like Alamo sequence and coming to San Antonio and the Spurs and basketball because we're about focusing the energy on the owners and making them the kind of like rock stars in the community so that your end result is that the customers in the community in San Antonio want to go with those owners in that franchise because we've made this Netflix storytelling of who they are. And so because we're able to get their local
Yeah.
that a
Okay.
headquarters in Maryland can't get to.
Can I, Angelin and I, as a digital marketing company, we, have definitely helped people that are part of franchises. And I think if I'm hearing this correctly, you're humanizing the brand with authenticity for their local market and the owners. And it goes back to that, the most human company wins. And when a franchise
E, E,
the corporate is like,
corporate is
I
there.
love it. I have 15 Instagram posts. Share these. Those can get flat and
Yeah, so
stagnant
fast.
and not and aren't they're more like filler and fluff, but they aren't connective posts. They don't connect with the audience. Got it.
Right. And Angela knows she's heard me talk about this forever in my Ashley Erickson production life. I tell everybody, if you're a business owner, you need to become your own Netflix series. That's what we talk about at dinner is, oh my gosh, what are you streaming? What are you watching? I'm always jumping on Angela about with something she's got to watch. And so that's the new narrative just socially. And so helping these business owners become their own Netflix series so that the people that are buying the memberships are so ingrained with the owners and the staff and then the other players. And we're able to continue that story because we're here local as a team to get them saturated in their community. Because that's what
Okay.
pickleball is all about, is the community. It's obviously, you know, I mean, it's been around forever, but during COVID is really when it took off, because you could social distance and be out with 4 people on a court. So it really surged. And now it's just
Okay.
continuing to take off. Yeah.
So here's what I'm listening to you and I'm like, okay, now it's coming together, because you're talking about the Netflix series for your clients. So we have we run in parallel businesses, right? So I understand this, and Brooklyn and I have to do this kind of gut check all the time. Is we've got to take the same things that we help our clients do with their potential audience and look at it for our business and think, okay, but our clients are our clients. How do we tell that same story in this
Right.
part of the chain, right? So let's kind of dive into that, because when you're talking about your Netflix series and telling, you are a great storyteller, we need to tell a story better, right? I thought, this is so good. I'm so excited about just kind of dialing into that. So, Brooklyn, do you want to go
Well, and it's interesting because when we started Twisted Pickle, it was all
Yeah.
about just talking about the journey. I mean, that's all we
Yeah.
had, because we hadn't even like formed what we were doing. We were in this huge umbrella, and then we started dividing it into silos, and then continued to kind of form, as you know, when you're 2
Yeah.
years old and going. But
Pivots.
everything we did before we really had huge clients was me playing pickleball, me talking to Suzanne, us out with our friends. And so it was a complete journey for a while. And then, you know, the locomotion starts and you get these clients, and then you're so bored about talking about yourself because you're like, this can't all be entertaining. I mean, people have got to hate me, you know? And so I think I'm trying to get back to what that journey looks like, and even keel of the business card and still the journey of Twisted Pickle.
Right, because you don't want to lose your personality. And
Right.
I mean, we've gone too educational all of a sudden. Now we've lost a little personality. That's possible. But also I think we've got to always use that filter of, who am I trying to reach here? So, and I know we're going to dive in very specifically, but this is kind of this is some of my notes when I was kind of looking at your content and trying to think very strategically for a change. I just meant like between you and I think strategically all the time. But, I mean,
I'd say he's pretty shallow most of the time.
I really, Brooklyn's always like, God, you know, could you lighten up a little bit? So I mean, I'm going back into that mode with you when you guys are like my close friends. But really, I think what we've got to identify for you, and it's a little bit, we always talk about EIO, we live in that lane, and you know all that, how we talk about that. But I think what's interesting about Twisted Pickle is that we need to sort of talk about a different aspect, and we do discuss this a lot in our training, but not all the time. And this is really the top of funnel, which is kind of where your audience building content is. And then that relationship funnel of engaging and really building that relationship with those people, the potential clients that you want to work with, and then the conversion at the bottom. So what kind of content are you doing a mix of these things? And yeah, it falls into that. It's all different. That's just the way that we deliver this content. But are you creating a good mix of, you know, audience building, viral type content, which you have done in the past? You've done a lot of it, but it needs to be a lot of that. And then the relationship building, explaining what you do, who you work for, how you can help people, letting people see themselves in the problems that you're describing. So we need to be talking about the new franchisee who's bitten off more than he can chew, doesn't know what to do with it. This is a great idea. You know, like all those series of like, before you start, this sounds so good. And then when you get into it, you're like, oh, this is hard. And then afterwards where you're crying in the sand, you know, like those types of memes where you're showing their journey. That's kind of that relationship building type content where we're hitting their pain points. And then the conversion of how you solve that. And I feel like maybe we've kind of lost a little bit of that funnel, maybe. So let's kind of look at that and see what we think. But
Yeah, and just for the people in YouTube world, if you don't know what EIEIO is, we do have classes over that, but we also have a freebie class on our YouTube that you can watch. And just to break it down, EIEIO are the 5 types of content you should be sharing on your social: educational, inspirational, entertaining, informative, offer. You should make your offer. And we call this my buy my crap post, right? But these 4 earn the right to do that. So I just wanted to give a little
awesome.
thing. Okay, so
EIO.
my screen and go to Instagram.
Yeah, let's look at Twisted Pickle first.
Okay.
And then I do have, you know, I'm sure you have her other ones, kind of her inspiration ones pulled up.
Hold on one second. Sorry.
Look at
I
these
just
two.
want to make sure that it's already up there.
Or you can
I
oh,
already made
share
you a
too if
couple.
you want me to. I didn't realize I had that right.
Yeah, why don't you share because it's not
Okay,
So-
no worries. I can do that. I've got it right here. Okay. This is Twisted Pickle. Okay, let's also, the two that you loved that were inspirational for you were Cat is Life and you kind of like they're more of their style because you are a reader's girl. You're wearing them right now.
Yep.
And what you like is their style. Is that accurate? The
Yes.
way they are true to their brand.
Yes.
They know their voice, right? And they know their customer. Okay.
Yeah, they're all about like, oh, you're getting old. Okay, let's do it together. So it
Mhm.
is addressing something while problem solving and being fun while doing it.
Mm-hmm. Okay. We don't even need to get into too much. That summed it up perfectly. They know their audience, they know their product. They're just trying to keep people entertained and get them to buy. I guarantee they do this funnel really, really well. And they also do a good mix of EIEIO. You can just
Yeah.
see, I mean, I can see that just looking at it. There's entertainment, there's information, there's education, inspiration, and of course
and
buy.
relatable content for that age group because they
Mhm.
know the audience that needs readers are
Mhm.
our age, and a little bit older than their
Superwoman, yeah.
Yeah,
They're showing those people in that age group. Yeah, amazing. Okay.
just based on your description of why you like them.
They need highlight help though.
I want to buy their readers,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. And this was the other one. And this one is something. Tell me again what you liked about them.
Well, Evan's a great friend, but he's also started kind of like the Tom's concept. And so he and his dad started it, and it is, for every one purchase with Cheers Pickleball, you supply water to a third world country, clean drinking water. And so I think it's and again, he sits in that product lane where he's got SKUs and there's something to sell each time. But I think he does a really good job of the mix of videos and education, the EIEIO. And he has a social media manager, so she's doing this for him as well. But he's also the face of the brand between he and his dad. So he does a really good job of like, that's him getting in the videos when you see just the guy standing there, but he does some good educational ones on like his handles right there. And then how to wrap a handle on a paddle with the blue shirt on, that's him.
Yeah, I
So he
love
does
it.
a great job with that.
I think one thing that you could take away from this and connect to you is you're a service-based industry, and Angelin and I are very much in that too. This call that we're doing right now is a coaching call with you as a small business owner. If you ever jump on Zooms with your franchisee in San Antonio, or you go and help them with something in person, if you record that and put those on YouTube as coaching calls or how the advice that you're giving to them, people are like, man, she really knows her stuff. I didn't even think about that. Man, we need to call her. Just because we're doing this coaching call with you doesn't mean that somebody else watching this won't be like, I want her to do me now. So
Yeah.
you could, like him giving the education about how to wrap the paddle, you can give away, do what you're already doing, just record yourself doing it and use those digital assets, those smaller clips on your feed.
Yeah, we have some good events coming up. So I just had a Zoom call with them this morning. They're going to be here this weekend. We have Worlds next week. So there'll be some good opportunities to have some things going on. We've just been in a different headspace for a little bit. So we've been building something on the side. So I think that we can't talk about. So I think that's also been hard, that you work 40 hours a week on something that you can't talk about at all. So that's tough. And so then I'm like, oh yeah, I got to run back over to Twisted Pickle and hurry up and make something up to keep people, engaged and doing something. So I'm just, and then I'll be in San Antonio next month. So I know there's some good opportunities of video to come up too.
That's
Right.
awesome.
Yeah, I mean, okay, so let's look at your account. I have to say, your bio is killer. I mean, I don't really know what else I would change. I mean, Brooklyn, do you have, I feel like it says exactly what you do and who you do it for. I actually really like your bio.
The only thing I would change is uh yeah, I absolutely love it, but you have no location. You have no like Dallas, Fort Worth, Texas, based in Texas, any of
I
that.
went back and forth on that because I wasn't sure. Suzanne and I talked about it after one of our calls. And I was like, God, I don't know if we need to geolocate or if we want to only sequester ourselves to Texas. It's been an ongoing call. So I was wondering if that was going to come up for the two of you.
I don't think that it would hurt you at all. It can only
Yeah,
help you.
I agree.
Especially if you
Okay.
say based in, that indicates or insinuates that you would go elsewhere. But you want to start at home, especially for search engine optimization, because people will
Okay.
say near me, Texas, Frisco,
Right.
North Dallas, DFW, Fort Worth, whatever. And so that's the only thing that I noticed in yours that I would add.
Okay.
You could even look at even doing something very subtle like Pickleball Business Consultants TX on the end. Like,
Yeah, the original name actually had the Pickleball Business Consultants on that line, had Texas. And then, like I said, it'd been kind of, Angela, will you refresh that? Because I'd actually put the phone on there for the book a discovery call. So I didn't know if that,
Are you active on Threads?
yeah, I was just
no.
saying, take that threads off. You
Yeah,
can hide
Okay.
that.
yeah, just go and hide it. That will allow you more lines on your profile. I'm sorry, on your bio. Not that you need them, they're already perfect, but that it's just another link you don't want them to click. You want them to click that blue link below.
The other
Okay.
thing that I would is just more of a question that I have your link opened up, that this is your link tree. It takes you to your website. And then it does say, like, for book a discovery call with it has your info. So you want them to email you. So I'm just trying to think, how many clicks are there to your the discovery call? I don't know if
Like
that's
a bit.ly to a website.
that may be fine. That may be what you want, but there is no like see if we're right for each other kind of form right here in this list. You make people
Okay.
have to go look around it, look for it, they have several clicks, and then they still have to email you before they submit a form for a discovery call. Again, everybody's product is a little bit different. Most of the time we'd say collapse that and make it super frictionless and have a link right here that says book a call with us or let's chat.
Okay.
But again, since your clients are bigger chunks, so just something to think about.
Yeah.
I agree with that. And then also, there's 4 links here. Link trees are super popular and we've got a lot of different links too, but more and more I am starting to think that one link is all you need, and that one link should be changed out frequently, and that one link should be what you're focused on now. And that's where I'm leaning towards, because the more choices you give them, the less likely they are to make one. And so, for instance, your Rebel article and your Authority Magazine article, if I were you, I would take excerpts, screenshots from the article, put quotes and put a link to them and put those in your stories and save them to a highlight in the media. And then they live in in a highlight if you don't already have it, or media or news
Yeah,
or
if you don't
whatever.
have press, I would call it press.
Yes. Whatever you call that, but have links to certain quotes from it, and then take those off your link tree, because by the time someone's gone to your profile and then they've clicked on that link, they're pretty much already, like you said, I wrote this down, you use your Instagram as if it's a living business card. So they're already pretty much sold and they're like, I'm ready to contact her. They don't need to read more. But where they do research you is they click through your highlights. And so if they could just have a little quick, some of your favorite quotes from the article and then link to it below, that just is a better use of that
Okay.
that clout, that social clout.
I
And
would
then
use some of those clips as a post too, because I don't see that in any of your actual posts either.
Mhm.
So that would be good. Yeah, because that's good stuff. I mean, I know you guys have gotten some really good press. So I'm with Brooklyn.
Yeah.
Use that as content, not just hidden in your link tree. Use it as content. And then, yeah, love that. And then make a press, because that kind of,
That's highlight.
yeah. Because, and again, I want Brooklyn to brainstorm on this as we're talking, but you too, Ashley, is, and y'all touched on it and y'all know how my brain works really fast, but I'm thinking credibility. Like, how do we build you as an expert? How do we show you giving advice? Or like when Brooklyn was talking earlier about, recording the calls, even if you didn't record them, you could use some of that content in a call with somebody to hear what they're saying and what you are suggesting. So maybe building content around the micro problems and the micro solutions. So one tiny
As
thing
a
that there's a
post.
pain, yet like a coaching.
Okay.
Like when somebody says, I was just talking to this person the other day and this is what they said. I think Brooklyn just did one of those this week on our thing about this was his problem. This is what we're suggesting. This is how we're solving it. It builds
also,
credibility. Go ahead.
one other thing, speaking of credibility, that's the one thing that your profile, that's the other thing your profile doesn't have. I just noticed you don't have thought leaders in the industry, experts, I don't know what it's called when you're featured in articles or industry leaders. So like for a realtor they might say top producing agent, some sort of descriptive before pickleball business consultants, expert pickleball business consultants, some sort of
Okay.
word. Because I don't know about y'all, but when I get on Pinterest, I go, the best chocolate chip cookie recipe. And then I just trust the person who named it that. I'm like, well, it must be the best. She called it the best.
Yeah.
Right. So
Mhm.
that's the way people think. And when I Google best chocolate chip cookie recipe. So people can't be, I mean, I know I'm one of a kind, but still, I like to type best. So you need to have some sort of accolade before your name, even if it's a euphemism for I was in
Yeah.
an article, or what, I don't know how to say that, featured.
Yeah, I know what you're saying. I can't think of it either, but I know exactly what you're talking about. You want them to get a little more descriptive. And I almost think, okay, we always say this to each other because sometimes we're very creative types, and we get a little sometimes off the rails. We are constantly reiterating back to ourselves, clear over clever.
Oh, I was like, I don't know which one of us you're talking to right now. I guess both.
Well, I think Brooklyn, because we do something about let's call it this, whatever. And then you look at me and go clear over clever, or I'll do the same to her. Like we're always clear over clever. And so I think your bio is super clear. So I don't necessarily want to change that. However, I do know that if we go back to Caddis and look at their bio, they have a little personality in there.
Yeah.
It is kind of fun. And so I think we lack a little bit of that here. And I don't necessarily know that we need to change it, but again, clear over clever is good, but I think we've got to show your audience is typically that person, not just a man, but I know you've worked with a lot of men that thinks twisted ball. Why did I say pickleball?
Like this,
All of the
anyone?
words twisted pickle put all in one thing. It just went all right there. That they think pickleball is fun and a hot trend, and so they're hopping in. So they're probably kind of fun people, even if they're in way over the head or they don't know what they're doing yet. They are attracted to fun, strong people, right?
Yes,
Right.
and if you notice, and this, I don't know if you noticed this or not, but your top right post, there was a huge missed opportunity there. Twisted pickle recipe. We want to make you pee yourself. PEE, planning, education, execution. Like I feel like that there's a really good opportunity to take that graphic
I love it.
and
Yeah.
make it a little lighter next time, you know? And
Mhm.
we call it peeing yourself, or I don't know, but I see the word pee there and I just can't help myself. I love it. It's so cute.
I love that too. I think that is fun. And yeah, I
Huh.
feel like you
Nothing
have
says pee myself more than Suzanne, Angela. There you go.
right. Okay, so let's talk about, okay, you have a lot of good content here that graphics and things that kind of educate people what you do. So that is good. And I don't necessarily want you to change any of that. However, I feel like we just need to, like you said, come back in with a little more personality. Let's think top of funnel. These are good for building and converting. We need some more fun personality, like how do we bring these people into our audience? How do we continue to grow? How do we continue to keep people interested in our content? Now, when you guys first came on the scene and you exploded very quickly, it was because people just were excited about pickleball content and you guys were funny. And that's how you began to kind of grow. As you've now niched down to your audience, it's like, okay, well, we still need to continue to be your humorous, fun self, but now we just need to actually speak to this very specific person and where they are. So I would encourage you to mind map a little bit about like your particular clients. Who are they? Where are their pain points? What are very specific things that you see over and over again that they're missing?
Tell us that right now. I've got a box here that's called audience details. Tell me one of the main things, or the three main things that your audience is missing that you help them get over. Challenges you solve.
Not understanding how to write a business plan,
Okay.
not understanding how to do the construction and the LOI and the lease space and the HVAC and all that goes with it. And then
So
how to,
would you call that the building of the facility? The
sure,
build out
facility operations.
facility operations?
Yeah, and then, I mean, marketing and social media is always a big one. I mean, 99.9% of the time, I have no idea what I'm doing marketing wise, how to market this. And that's why it's great to be in the franchise lane, because headquarters kind of gives you that brand kit and that tone of
Yes.
voice deck, which
Mm-hmm.
is great. But we've also had clients where we've had to come up with that from ground zero for them.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, wait, tell me about not understanding how to write a business plan. You could do an entire mind map just about a pickleball business plan, a pickleball facility business plan.
Yeah.
And what's the hardest part about the business plan?
People don't know how to verbalize things from a thought process to paper, and how to put that together to go to a bank. And that really kind of lies more in like Suzanne's arena.
Uh-huh.
It's that business thought process, but I mean, we had to write a pro forma the other day for a company or some guys that are getting together to open one. So it is like endless on this 2-year journey. Every time I'm like, wait, you didn't know how to get up and brush your teeth? Okay, hang on, pivot. It is
Okay.
so constant. It's like almost overwhelming at times.
What's a
They don't know
performa?
how to raise capital. They don't know what capital gains means after the end of this. I mean, there's a lot.
Okay, so capital gains, raise,
Raise
uh,
funds, pro forma, business plan, all the non-sexy stuff. How's that?
yeah, and it's all the stuff they're like, I don't want to think about it. I just want to do the fun part. Can we just skip to the
Right,
good
and
part?
I say that every time. I don't know if that needs like to be its own post. I'm like, yeah, we do the non-sexy stuff too, because the marketing and branding and the storytelling and all that is all the jazzy fun, Pantones and all the things that we're going to put together. And then they're like, oh yeah, the
I'm
pro
seeing
forma, a
these
business
like,
plan.
that audio out there that says, can we skip to the good part? That one is out there.
Yeah,
But what
exactly what
happens
it
in my
is.
head is that, and you have a little scratch. He goes, nope, that's not how it works. And it's like, no, first we got to do this. We've got to do the pro forma, the LOI, the raising the capital. And
Yeah.
all of a sudden you're so in a very creative way, you're showing like a crowded pickleball facility where people are having fun, and that's what they want. But no, first you got to go this,
Yeah.
So again, speaking to that, and you're like, oh, we can help with that. Okay. So
Yeah, and every single one could use that audio and be a different post sprinkled out over the weeks and months and years. You could always say, can we skip to the good part? No, you got to do this first. It's called a performa. Here's what that means, and here's why you need it. Then you can just pickleball your face off afterwards, but you got to have it first.
That sounds pretty.
sounds pretty.
Pickle your face off.
Okay, that's awesome. Okay. Honestly, that is the kind of micro type content. It's the planning, the education, and the execution. I think this is what we all do. This is what we all do. We get so in the weeds that we come way back here and we get too big. It's like default, like this is our comfort zone. So we kind of get way back here. No, you got to get back and down to the micro. You got to talk about all those little things in the business plan. And then you got to talk about, okay, so we had the business plan, then we had the facility ops, and then we have the marketing. So I think you could talk about those 3 buckets. You could definitely do content where this is what it takes to run a, facility. This is what it takes. You got to have this, you got to have this, you got to have this. Just like you've done your planning. Well, you could do a whole series on recipes. Like a whole series on recipes. And this is the overall recipe. This is the micro recipe. This is Thanksgiving dinner. This is the mashed potatoes. This is the, cranberry sauce.
This is a metaphor for what?
Like how she could take all her big content and make it more micro.
Yeah.
Okay. So she could do a whole thing on recipes where she has, your business is going to require a business plan. It's going to require good facility ops and management of your money and your facility. And then you're going to have the marketing. But let's talk about each one of those has a further down recipe that we can solve as well.
Tiny ones,
because that's still way too big. Like but you can bring it down to that. The other thing that I was just brainstorming, and I want to share this before I forget, is that you and Suzanne you're very much like Brooklyn and I. We have a lot of opposites. We have different skills. We're not really as opposite as you and Suzanne, but we have different skills. And so that is a beautiful thing in your world, because she's very good at some of those executive type functions, and you're really good at it. So it's like, and then here, Suzanne's lane, this is the Ashley part. So I think it would be really fun if you guys did some play on that. Some of the best engagement and relationship building content that Brooklyn and I put out there is when we do things about us. People love to get to know you, and you guys could have some fun with different parts of your personality. Like we were just looking at one this morning where it was like, what's your playlist, Suzanne? What's your playlist, Ashley?
Mm-hmm.
And so you could do a whole little series of posts about how y'all are different.
That scared me. I was like,
but then in the caption, it always comes down to our different skills help you in this way, because she's a master of this. Right. I'm an expert in this. So you're kind of showing how opposites attract, and we help because we're so different. We really help you. You don't want to hire 2 marketing specialists to help you with the facility growth. Like that, we're not, you've got to have this and this. So you guys are a really good pair. So you could play up your differences and talk about how that serves your client well.
Yeah.
I could see
The
you
play-
batting the ball, the pickleball, and say, I'm great at this. No, I'm great at this. I'm great at this. And then or whatever noises y'all make. I don't know. But I could see.
Yeah, that's definitely one there, Brooklyn, is the huh.
I mean, the other one, like, okay, the playlist I thought was a fun one. We were talking.
Playlist is good because that's
The
the hard
cre-
part is that I don't see Suzanne, right? So that's always the hardest part is
You would have to,
yeah, I
well,
like the playlist.
you'd have to plan this for sure. Or you guys could do some of these on your own, but you'd have to give her very specific instructions. Creature comforts. What are your creature comforts? What are hers? Why are they different? You know? And then what you bring to the table, each of you, and how that benefits your clients. So she's the she's the I don't know, the whiskey, and you're the Michelob Ultra, like
Yeah.
how does this
I was
serve?
thinking about just going through this, like I used to have some really good ones that talking about redoing, what's your word, Brooklyn? You're always like redo or, use your old content because I'd archived some that I always forget that I have, huh?
Repurpose, repackage,
Yeah.
digital hair.
Repurpose some because there was some good ones in there about, because that's a good one. I like the playlist and the creature comforts. That's
Yeah, and then always bringing it back to how each one of
affects
them
them.
that serves your client so well, to have that kind of different personalities. I think that's really good. Okay, so that's going to be a lot of that mid funnel, kind of building your relationship. And then, okay, so your top of funnel content, this is where a lot of your entertainment and inspiration content comes in. So what does that look like in terms of this niche audience? So we're not just doing general pickleball fun content, but what is it about the franchisee owner that would appeal to them in that very fun space, like in the meme space, in the, like, how can you play on their like pain points, and things like that. What is it that they are struggling with that you can help them with? So again, I go back to, I just bought a franchise of this pickleball world, and I'm feeling awesome. I see these a lot in terms of, and y'all will both laugh because I see them like the stages of booking a Disney trip. Okay, so you're all excited when you're first going, and you could do the same kind of thing for like when you first get involved in a franchisee, like a new venture. And then what it's like as they go through it, like still good, not so good. Now I'm completely stressed, and now I'm crying in the corner. It's kind of that journey, and you're like doing the CapCut memes for each stage of it.
Mhm.
That's what keeps playing over in my head, is like, let's identify that, let's create some of that type of content, and then let's reuse that same type of content in several ways. EIO it.
Yeah. Mhm.
Oh, that was a lot, but I hope I articulated that correctly. But that journey is their pain point, and then how you can come in beside them now and help them with this, with the business plan, with the facilities, and then the marketing, and how they don't have to be stressed anymore. So anytime you can come up with that type of like journey solution, that should be what
Yeah.
your content is really all about, right?
Yeah. Well, that was kind of the thought process when I was doing um, the unpopular opinions and then, is your
Yeah.
business.
Right. Okay. So take that exact same content that you did in those unpopular and let's EIO that same exact information,
Yeah.
let's use that to create more video reels and have fun, that's good. You've done a lot of the education content already.
It's the repurposing of it.
Yes, 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 yes. Absolutely. I'm
Tell her
kind of,
about carousels. I know you've already told her, we've already talked about this on our call, but again, reiterate the carousel thing and how she could take, and
yeah.
she probably already does a lot of carousels, but
Mhm.
converting old reels to carousels and carousels to reels.
Yeah, as we know, carousels is getting some love from Instagram right now, so those are good. And yours have done good, but I can't see your insights on the carousels. I can only see your insights on reels, or not. I can't see a lot of insights, but I can just see views, And I know that even for us, I can definitely say that a lot of times we'll take that reel content, make it a carousel, or we'll take a carousel content and make it a reel. And the reel seems to perform better almost always. Just because
Yeah.
I don't know, even though we know what Instagram is saying, I still feel like reels get more love. And then you can take the reel where you're doing the face to camera or text on screen over B-roll, and then you can also make a meme out of the same exact thing. So again, just more of that repurposing, but just making sure that you're really speaking to, and two really big takeaways. Make sure you're speaking to the journey of your ideal client, and make sure you're getting micro. I feel like yours have gotten a little bit too much info. So maybe just more micro. Your
Yeah, I
content
think
is
what
so
I
good.
try to do is like after we leave a client call
Yeah,
is whenever I'm like making those posts, because I'm like, oh, okay, this is what they were
good.
talking about. Like, is
Good.
your business listing the customer service, sales, business? So that one I turned around and made that into a carousel after we had the
Perfect.
class and talked about that we could now do 20 or whatnot.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. But you
I
gotta think. Oh, go ahead. Go ahead, Brooklyn.
Oh, you're fine. I was just gonna say, because I'm using our little checklist here. I'm trying to write feverishly. One thing, going back to the link in your profile, if that was more direct to a form to fill out, contact us, book a discovery call, whatever that is. You want to get a lot more inquiries, so you want to make sure that you're including links in those stories in your DMs and all of that. So I just wanted to say that because I just put a pin in it. But gosh, I just lost my train of thought.
Oh my gosh, that never happens to either one of us. Never.
Gosh. Okay, well, I'll jump back in a second. I'll jump back in a second.
Reel it back in.
Uh,
Okay, do you have any thoughts or questions anything you want to unpack together?
Nope, I think I'm good. I wrote about 3 pages of notes. So
Yeah. Okay. So what do you feel like? Oh, and another thing I just really want to is get back to the funny. Like, you are funny and snarky and hilarious, and people love that about you. Sarcastic, all that stuff. So, um, don't forget to bring that in, because that's so
yeah,
signature.
yeah.
Okay. So what do you feel like is your number one or number two or three thing that you really want to accomplish right away?
I would like 2 more days in the week. I would
Yes.
like another Ashley.
Yes.
Um,
Understand that.
yeah. I mean, no, this is a great checklist of what some
Okay.
good out of the box thinking, because you can definitely, I mean, it's like anything. If you're not working on it every day, you're walking away from it every day.
I know. And then it's real hard
And
to come back
it's
in.
exhausting. Yeah. So I think that's a lot of it right now. But there was some good nuggets. Like, I know where our brand sits, and I feel good about that. Whenever I look at our Instagram page, I'm like, okay, the
Yes.
coloring works.
Your branding is immaculate.
Yeah, the branding is there. Education, I feel like, is definitely there. I think it's, like we said, carving out that time to make the video and, get back to it. It's hard to be funny when you don't feel funny, because you're working
Uh-huh.
on this side project, so you're like, oh, that's right, I got to get back to my personality, but I can't.
Also, I want to just give you a shout out for the clear. Yours is so well written that it makes me want to refine ours. It's inspirational how clear you are, because sometimes just saying who you are and what you do like, you know, people can get confused on a feed, and especially for what you do because you consult for pickleball industry professionals. That is very specific. I'm like, what does that
Right.
mean? You know, are you helping the players or whatever? So I just want to give you the shout out and know that if you didn't change anything today,
You're good.
you are one of the best profiles that, I mean, hands down, that I've seen, because there's no question on who you are and what you do. That
Oh,
I
good.
did
Thank you.
realize, you're welcome. And I did figure out what I had forgotten earlier. Synergy partners. We just talked about this in a class we taught earlier today. I have videos from the two sponsors for that class where it was a mortgage company and a roofer. And the roofer was like, I said, okay, for the purpose of this class, give me a 30-second spiel of who you are, what you do, who you do it for. And he started talking to me as a realtor. I said, no. Talk to the person you're doing the roof for. And the reason why is because I said, now I want all of you realtors to make a list of 3 names of people that you recommend all the time. One person said Norma, the lady that comes and cleans for, you know, you're moving out, you want to get it cleaned for it, you know, to pass inspection or whatever. Inspectors, roofers, foundation people, all of that. And so my point for you is, if you're willing to, and I know that some of your synergy partners are maybe in San Antonio and they're based on the location of your client, but if you have someone, and this is, I'm just using us as an example, not saying that you're going to do this, but if you recommend marketing help and you're like, you know, and then you make a story and then you highlight it in synergy partners or whatever you call that, now
Yep.
you have a smorgasbord of highlights of all the people that you recommend for certain industries. You can bit.ly link those links, and then you're able to tell that person, hey, you got 72 clicks this week or whatever, you know. So a highlight with your synergy partners where you recommend people and tools and organizations or whatever, and link to them. Not only link, but tag them in the story so they see that you did it and they're willing to share it with their people.
Got it.
You just made me think, like, you know, Worlds is coming up next week. So who will you see out there that
Yeah.
would you consider a synergy partner? Because if you had a highlight of people that, okay, I don't really know that this is for you, but when you're a realtor, you've got a mortgage and a title and you've got your trade people. If you are like, these are the people that I recommend, and you have like videos with them as your partners and you're promoting them. So could you get some video content where you're with them? Because then that puts you in that realm of, not only are they going to share your information, but again, it builds that credibility to say, this is the level of people that we're partners. We recommend each other. We're synergy partners. It just gives you instant expert, you know, credibility.
Yeah. Street cred. Yeah. And it was funny. I tagged, I don't know if y'all saw it in my story, where I put coffee and Tiger Balm, and I put, what's your fall survival kit? And then Tiger Balm reposted it. And I had like 15 new followers in like a day. It was hilarious. Not that
Awesome.
I wish I had a contract with Tiger Balm, but that's a great one because we talk a lot in pickleball about recovery.
Okay. Now that you've said that, now I've just had another idea. You've got to write this down because you've got to do this. Is my top 5 pickleball must-have, can't live without things that get me through my game. And you should do that, and so should she. And then, because honestly, it just gives you an opportunity to tag some things, and it also brings your personality into it and reminds people that you love the game. So your favorite paddle, your shoes, your Tiger Ball, whatever it
I
is,
just got new shoes. So I was like, I can't wait to tag Wilson.
your element, or, you know, like your electrolytes.
Your pickleball
whatever.
kit. One of the influencers that we have, we did a closet kit, and it's like boob tape, the shoe horn, a lint roller, you know, all that kind of stuff. And we linked everything to Amazon, and she just came up with, she has an Amazon affiliate. Obviously, anyone can get that. And that would be a really cool way of getting some little small mailbox money revenue, is saying one of your highlights could be your pickleball kit. Like she
Yeah.
said.
Yeah. Again, that's just more fun content that's very, very viral, top of funnel type things. So we gotta have a little mix of that. So I just love that idea for you.
Yeah, it's a good one.
Okay.
Hey, that's
Okay.
awesome. Straight
Wow.
up 3 o'clock.
My
Boop, boop.
gosh, we did it so good in 1 hour.
Yes. Yeah, so
Thank
we
you,
are
ladies.
you're welcome. We are so glad to have you. And of course, you're such a good friend and sweet and deserve all the things. So anyways, I really appreciate it. And until next time. Bye.
Yeah, I appreciate you
Bye.
both. Thank you.
You're welcome.